Hi there, this is the Bluehead Cyborg, and today I'm just going to be doing a kind of, well, not so much a rant, but kind of just rambling on a bit about fan service in anime and manga, and about both mine and the opinions of some friends of mine. Now, I'm going to start off by saying that everything expressed in this is just opinions. So, if you don't like this opinion, then please keep it to yourself. Now, first of all, I'm just going to say I've seen quite a few animes with a lot of fan service in them, and I'm going to be going over some of them as well. And one thing I've noticed is there's quite a massive range in the fan service you'll see. It goes from just like little bits that you might see in Bleach to camphor, which is essentially softcore porn. A lot of shows seem to use fan service as like a way of generating interest. I mean, I make reference to this in my review of it, but Iki Tosen, the first series, you didn't really see a massive amount. I mean, come on, there was a guy who went around and just stuck his hand out on girls' tops and stuff, but you didn't really see anything. There was always like mist in the way or scraps of clothing. And then suddenly for the rest of the series, they suddenly decided, how can we generate more interest? I know! Tits! We'll show tits at every single opportunity. How are we going to do it? Well, they're having a fight. Let's use some kind of weird energy superpower thing so they can blast each other's clothes off. And then you can see tits everywhere. It's amazing. And then we can have bath scenes. Tits! It's ridiculous. It got to the point where I just couldn't really watch it anymore because I was cringing constantly. Fair enough. You know, I'm not going to complain about it particularly. Wasn't that bad. But it just subtracted from the whole thing. It's like I want to be like entertained by a show, and all you're doing is just showing tits all the time. It's ridiculous. A lot of this kind of fan service you do sort of tend to see in kind of like fighting girl animes and stuff like that. I shall now move on to camphor, which started off all right. I mean, you did see a fair bit of fan service here and there, but it didn't really like subtract massively. And as it got further through the series, it did get a bit weirder, but it was still alright, I suppose. But then we got onto Fansrvice. Oh dear. That was incredible. I shall now demonstrate this by showing one or two clips from the show itself.
ここなら大丈夫です。
でもさ、なんで茜ちゃんまで？
あ、そっか。すみません。ついテンパってしまって。
いや、いいんだけど。
近いですね。なんかドキドキします。ごめん。私初めて見ちゃいました。
それなら。
一応女同士ってことで、とりあえずそろそろ外へ。
Yeah. I hope I haven't put any of you off watching Camphor. It's still a reasonably alright show. Just, if you don't want your entire opinion to be ruined of it, just don't watch Third Eye Leap. Another show which is kind of like this is a show called Sekirei, which is also like a fighting girl one with like something to do with aliens and girls with superpowers and stuff like that. And there are a lot of bath scenes, clothes getting blown off and stuff like that. Kind of like what you saw in Iki Tosen. But the difference here is it doesn't actually subtract from the anime particularly. it actually kind of adds to it in places as well. It means like Musabi is dead innocent and stuff, and she doesn't really realise what she's doing half the time. And then they're all adults basically, except for one character, Ku, but yeah, just don't go there. Absolutely no fan service concerning her. It's all of like adult girls, which compared to like Kamfa and Ikitosen, they're not all 16-year-olds. They're like, well, the main character, he's like 21 or something like that, so that kind of makes it okay. Now, I have seen a show actually which does fan service reasonably well. It's a show called Princess Lover, and some of the fan service, you know, it does involve like the girls and stuff like that, but there is like, it kind of makes funny things and stuff as well. I will show a clip now from when they, well, two clips actually. One is when they are playing table tennis, and another is when Charlotte is teaching Tepe how to dance.
それじゃあ試合を始めます。
あ、ヴィンセントさん。
今日だぞ。
これが庶民の卓球さ。悔しかったらそっちもフェイントかましてくるんだな。
ならば本気で行かせてもらう。
卑怯だぞ。
何がだ。
いや、なんでもありません。続けましょ
う。なんで前に来ちゃうの？アドリブ禁止。
アドリブじゃないんだけど。
ダンスは優雅に楽しくよ。そうね、上手にできたら。
できたら？
ご褒美にキスしてあげる。
キス？
ご褒美のキス先払い。
あ、
どうしたの？
いや、ちょっとその説明が。
ねえ、ポケットに何入れてるの？
ガム。
ガムにしては大きいわ。
大きいガム。
Ah, there we go. See, funny fan service stuff. There are a few weirder bits in it. There is a point in the anime where it seems as though Charlotte is trying to get into Tepe's pants, but you know, it's still reasonably well done. Now onto a show which does fan service kind of differently. Ranma One Half. Now, I personally absolutely love this show. I think it's absolutely amazing, and it is, the way it does the fan service is it relies on the kind of the gender bender aspect of it, the fact that Ranma turns into a girl, but he has none of that kind of like, well, feminine modesty basically. You know, he will walk around while in girl form, topless around the house, like at least at first, you know, and he doesn't mind being seen topless and stuff like that, you know, as a girl, until he starts to eventually learn later on that perhaps he shouldn't really be walking around like that. But it does it quite funnily, and then there's like Shampoo always like jumping on Ranma, whether in boy or girl form, and you see her like suddenly turn from a cat into a girl when she's been dropped into a hot bath when Ranma's there, and you know, like bath scenes. But it is well done. It's not the sort of fan service that will make you cringe constantly. It works. It adds a bit to the show, and I think that is what fan service should be doing, adding to the show, not taking away from how good it is. Now, I've mentioned this before, Bleach doesn't have particularly very much fan service. A lot of the fan service stuff is actually in the like anime exclusive stuff, like when they all went to the beach, when they're all like the bikinis and stuff like that. And a lot of the fan service seems to revolve around Matsumoto, like the point where she suddenly like gets out of the bath and starts like tickling Orihime and stuff, while Rangiku's naked and stuff like that, you know. But it doesn't subtract from the show. Yet another example of fan service done well. Now, personally, I don't mind fan service that much. I mean, I'm a guy. What can you expect? A lot of fan service is, you know, directed towards guys. That's just kind of like a fact of it, which is a bit sexist, yes. But that's just kind of how it's all been done, and it's a strategy that works. So why change something that works? Don't fix it if it ain't broke, that sort of thing. But what I can't stand is when it's just fan service, and it's a bit pathetic almost, when all you're seeing is just like girls all over the place, and you just see like bath scenes, tits everywhere. It's ridiculous, and personally I don't really like that all that much. I'm the kind of guy who would like a good story, not just visual effects. I'll put it that way. But fan service in itself is alright. I don't see why people complain about it all that much. I'm not particularly complaining about it at the moment. It's still good. I'm just complaining about the way it's done sometimes, if that makes sense. And now, finally, before I move on to the opinions of my friends who I have asked about this, I would like to briefly mention History's Strongest Disciple, Kenichi. This is a show which didn't particularly start off with fan service and stuff, but it has kind of started to develop a bit of that as time has gone on. But the way it does it is a bit similar to the Fighting Girl animes, but it does it well, because in a lot of them there's like one of the characters, Miyu, occasionally she gets into fights and stuff like that. At one point she fights a weapons master, and she's fantastic martial artist, and he's just a bit better, so he's attacking her with knives and swords and stuff like that, and she's just able to dodge, but it does still cut up her clothes a bit. You don't see anything, although since the fact that it doesn't show any detail, you can possibly assume the fact that she's not wearing any underwear in the manga. And at the end of this fight, once Kenichi and Miyu defeat this guy, suddenly Kenichi realises, and then suddenly it goes to the whole fan service thing, and she's embarrassed. But it plays on the fact that she says, "Oh, even at a time like this, guys are still interested in this." Yes, we are. That's what makes it funny, because it's truthful. We've got to admit it. I'm sure that any guy out there really who is straight would agree that we would still be interested.